Okay, how do I actually make this go away? On this, it's not on my computer, it's on whatever display this is. This is really annoying. Oh no, oh no. So it's on.
I'll press
Oh, it's not even on. Okay. Anyway, awesome. Well, that's fine. Well, first of all, I'll just introduce ourselves. So, I'm Trina Gregory. I teach here in Viterbi. I teach for information technology program, as well as run programs for our Office of Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship, also known as TIE. So, Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. It's a mouthful. A lot of times you'll see like the TIE office or the office of TIE or something like that. So we are an office within Viterbi, which focuses on innovation, entrepreneurial skills for our students, whether that be our undergrad, grad, as well as alumni, and as well as our faculty and staff. So it's not we do support these kinds of ventures across Viterbi. Oh, so glad you're here. Okay. No, come sit down. We just started. Okay. So I support our TIE office. So does David Gerber. David Gerber is also a professor for Viterbi and architecture schools.
Yeah.
You want to introduce yourself a little bit?
I'm David Gerber. I'm in the Civil and Environmental Engineering Department. I run an undergrad program and a grad program, and I also have another department in School of Architecture. But for today, I get to work with Trina and Susan and Johanna.
Yes.
And you.
Yeah. So both Dave and I are faculty members, but we work with the Office of Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. And I really like to kind of put our mission out there to really see that we are trying to educate engineers, right, on strategies to invent, develop, integrate, sustain, technology, launch ventures, and promote ethical and inclusive technology, innovation, entrepreneurship ecosystem. But one of the key things I want to say also is that we help not just engineering students, because you see that you're not just right, we have more than just engineering students. We like to encourage teams of students to work together, right? And in some of our programs, even we've had, I can think of a team last year that they had Viterbi students and they had other students, but they even had, a friend that was at another university, right, participating as well. So I don't want you to think that everyone is so limited to just Viterbi students. There has to be a Viterbi student on your team, right? But we are welcome to, combine students from around campus and include other universities as well. But another thing that I want to point out is that it's really our goal to, have you guys, right? You guys have ideas. You have wonderful ideas, right? We want to focus on there's problems out there. How are we going to solve these problems? But our goal is really to teach you the process of having an idea and innovation and pushing it forward to hopefully a startup or something that's sustainable, right? We are teaching that process such that you may have a great idea this semester, right? Oh, this is great. But one thing you'll notice is sometimes you have to pivot and you have to change your idea. And so we don't want you to think that it's like has to be this golden idea, right? The idea and that piece it. We're teaching you this process such that in the future you can have other ideas and you will know like, oh, I need to go through kind of this process to verify it's a good idea, it's solving a real problem, right? But I just want you to really understand that as part of our job here in this office. So specifically the Min Family Challenge, which is what you're here for, the long version is the Min Family Social Entrepreneurship Challenge. That's quite a mouthful. We usually call it, the nickname is MFC for the Min Family Challenge. It's sponsored, right? How we get this funding for our big award at the end is through the Min Family. So alumni, kids are alumni. Brian Min has a successful engineering firm, with, pardon me, it's,
So, Brian Min is an alum. He was in the Navy and actually went through submarines, and he actually came out of the Navy and started a business in San Diego, which is an engineering firm, think software and hardware. And he has, along with me, his wife, a very strong passion for giving back. And that's why the focus of the Family Social Entrepreneurship Challenge is about looking for young people like you guys to develop ideas and solutions. Susan, of giving back.
yeah, and it's, so they really focus on societal needs, or vulnerable populations, right? That's really, really the focus of it. So, we want to make clear that you kind of know that this is the focus. This is what this competition stands, that's what makes it different than some of the other competitions that you may see in Marshall, that you even may see in Viterbi and other organizations and stuff around campus, right? And even at other universities, we're focused on that idea of, societal impact. How do we improve things for society? Just as an overview, just to get you started, this competition, we are going to be, through this competition, you apply, we select people that have good ideas. We participate in workshops, you get assigned mentors. You're going to be presenting to, judges who are generally investors and other types of people at our final event next April. There is a $50,000 grand prize to actually push your idea forward, right? To actually, really make that impact, right? So you can really jumpstart it. Kind of that really good seed funding. And there's also legal services. So that just kind of does an overview of NFC. I wanted to say that we have a steering committee, we have a teaching team that kind of really helps all of these things. David Gerber and I are co-leads for this project. This is supported through our Office of Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship, and the vice dean is Dr. Alice Meng. Abby Fleischman-Wendell will be part of our teaching team, and we have Susan Angus. I purposely left this to you last so I could introduce you, and then we've got the two next slides. Susan Angus is the executive director of the Commission on Voluntary Service and Action. She, their group publishes this Invest Yourself book that has, basically all these opportunities around the country to, of needs that are out there and how you can make a difference. A little bit of, there's her email and phone number, email and website, but she has really been this driving force and helping us pick our theme and really, what is, it's this foundation, like when we talk about societal needs, well, that could be anything, right? So how do we kind of really focus that in? We, because of her, have really adopted the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, and Susan is going to talk about that. So come on up, Susan. So, and I have two slides. I can go, okay, either like this is the first one that there's.
I just came up with this, I think, brilliant idea.
Okay,
Awesome.
awesome.
I brought copies of the Invest Yourself to give out to everybody
Awesome.
so that they have, I'll tell you why.
Here, I'll get that out.
Thank you.
I'll get this passing around.
So Commission on Voluntary Service and Action is a nonprofit organization that I did not found it, but I've been involved with it since the 70s.
We're going to give them all out?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
Are we paying later?
No. If you would like to, I always accept donations, but I'm not asking for it. Okay, so CSA is a nonprofit, non-governmental organization, and we actually do have official, called Special Consultative NGO status to the Economic and Social Council of the UN. That just means that they recognize that us as having expertise in the field, which is very broad, actually. It's volunteerism, but it's actually goal-oriented volunteerism towards building organizations that actually organize and fight for solutions for problems. And so the organizations that we work with, who you will see in the catalog, all deal with different topics, from hunger to trying to transform the agricultural system, from the monoculture corporate owned, destroying the earth type agriculture, to more local, organic, growing affordable food that people can eat locally and be able to afford. Other groups that are dealing with energy, from every aspect of that, like nuclear, across the country, actually organize the resources to help low-income families get solar on their roofs for free. Because most low-income people cannot afford solar, but they pay the most for their utilities of anybody, percentage-wise. And often get the utility shut off and they can't pay the bill. To groups of doing healthcare, in organizations of medical professionals, and nurses and dentists and eye doctors to provide some care to people who cannot get that. But they also organize to fight to change the policies that create that problem. Where it's thinking, we spend more money per capita on healthcare than other any countries, but we're way down in the scale of actually being healthy. And so they're also dealing with other problems like the fact that so many other populations, and people have heart disease, people have asthma, people have diabetes, because they can't afford their healthy food, and then worse food cheapest. So there's groups that deal with that. There's groups that deal with affordable housing. There's groups that deal with disaster relief. People that are the group called the Cajun Navy. They got started right after Hurricane Katrina in 2005.
They're all born probably around 01, 02, 03.
Okay, so you can look up in the archives of Google. It was a horrific storm. We've had many since then. We've had worse since then. But it was the beginning of really horrific storms, and thousands of people drowned in New Orleans. Poor people who couldn't get evacuated, who didn't have the gas in their car to get out of it before the storm hit. And lived in the poorest neighborhood. And they drowned because the levees broke, because they were not constructed to withstand the Category 5 hurricane. And besides, it's just poor people on the other side. And it broke. So this group started, there's what they call it, very informal, because for days and days and days, if you watch television, 4 days in a row, you would see footage of people on their roofs. Help, save me, for 4 days in the end of August, very hot. And it took 4 days for rescues, official rescues from the government to get there. So these guys are like, redneck, Cajun people who have boats and trucks and hundreds of them. Use their CDs and organize themselves and they're looking at rescue people before the government got there. And so they've stayed organized and they continue to do that. We met them when we were in Texas in 2017, when there's another horrific hurricane that So it's those type of organizations that we find, because why they are dependent on volunteers. A lot of these are they're very effective, they're very bold, but many these groups are made up of the people who have suffered or are suffering these problems. And that's one of the principles of CBSA is based on, is that we believe that the solutions to any problem, social, political, environmental, has to be the people that come up with the solutions, that has to include the people that are suffering from the problem. Because you will find that they know best what the solutions. So I explain that in all of our presentations, but I'm particularly want to take note of that because it's one of the things that is most important for whatever project you develop and propose, that you must from the beginning include consultation with or direct experience with, like visit, spend a day with groups that are actually trying to do with this problem. They're in it. They don't have lots of resources. They have a lot of goal orientation and fight, but they can use help. employees, but if you peruse that book, there might give you some idea of the types of organizations that are out there and what they're doing. This is not representative of all groups that are out there. In fact, we just moved here from New York like 4 years ago. So I'm still getting to know the city. And also no subway system.
Don't get us started.
I can't. And then.
Wait, my 12-mile commute takes an hour.
Yeah. So luckily I live in a house where we have our office. That's one of the, but I'm getting to know a lot more groups. So the numbers of organizations that are in LA that are doing the next itself aren't as many as there actually are out there. So just keep that in mind. It's one of the reasons.
Exactly.
Can I add to that though?
What?
So one of the reasons that you should talk to Susan is all of the groups that are in that book and in her brain. But also it's a fundamental business lesson actually, which is for any endeavor, whether it's for total profit or if it's actually a social endeavor, which is what we're interested in here, you really do have to do customer discovery. You have to, because let's face it, most of us don't experience the kinds of problems we're trying to solve. You need to have deep empathy for it, and even a critical resource for it.
So I want to talk about the sustainable development goals and why we've adopted that as a framework for the Mid-County Challenge, which is how to, to give you something of where do I go, what should I try and tackle. Let me first ask, how many of you are familiar with the 30 16 grade?
What do you?
She's wearing the thing. I don't have my pin on.
And this is like a few examples of how you know that.
So in my undergrad, there was a challenge by Google. So I was a part of a Google Developer Student Club, and that particular challenge was to solve a problem that was related to the 70% development.
Okay. And where, what school?
So I took healthcare, and I made an app where
No,
you can
what was
look.
the school that you did?
Sorry, it was in India. It's,
In India?
Yeah, University of Mumbai.
Okay. Has anybody learned about them from a source that's in the United States?
Yeah, I think my undergrad is political science.
Okay.
So we really focus on like,
Right.
that's like individual topics, right? So
Right.
that's professional intelligence, that's partnership. Here at USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I want to put it on the US is because if you come from another country, you've probably heard about the sustainable development goals. They are teaching it. They're publicizing it. Their governments around the world are bringing reports to the UN about what they're doing to try to achieve the SDGs. US is not. Since the sustainable development goals were passed by all 193 countries in the United States in 2015, including the US, and yes, we're going to do this. Since then, all but 5 countries have been bringing reports to the UN. This is what we rearrange. This is what we decided we have to do. These are the resources we need. These are the resources we have. This is what we've restructured. These are the projects we're trying to do. This is what we have to do to get there. All but 5 countries have got at least one regional reports. There's 5 countries that have it. Myanmar, Haiti, Yemen, South Sudan, and the United States. Okay, so the reason the United States hasn't done it, I could talk about that, but I'm not going to talk about it. Here, come to my office. So the Minnesota Challenge is about a process, as you very well explained. So is the SDGs is what I want to use the time that I have to do is explain the process by which these sustainable goals were arrived at, because it wasn't overnight. It wasn't just 7 white men in the room, with a brain. Nothing against white men.
Am I the only one in the room?
Okay, I have to tell you that story. Okay, I got to know very well the gentleman who was on the staff at the UN Development And he was around when the Millennium Development Goals were written, which was in 2000, and also when the 2015 goals were being developed. And he's the one that told me, he said, let's stop talking about the goals as UN goals, because once they were adopted, they're no longer UN goals. They are the goals of each country that voted for them. Each government said, yes, we're going to do these goals. And it is up to each government and the people in each country to organize and to give up the time. It's up to each country. Oh, and to cooperate with the UN can't do that. UN is just a voluntary organization. It's not government. They're not making things do anything. It's just years, sometimes it's really bad. So it's up to the government to do it. But we're the people, and we have the people that understand it. The people that told me the SDGs are very different from the Millennium Development Goals, which were a set of, I think, 7 or 8 very linear goals, something that quantified. And it was for the developing countries. So that's able to be able to do the whole development for countries. These goals, and he said, and they were written by 7 or 8 groups. He told me that. He said, these goals, and here's going to tell you a story. And you ever heard of the Earth Summits that were held in Rio de Janeiro, the first one in 1992? Yes? No? Okay. Okay, well, look it up. It was historic. It was the time when the world, really the world, was starting to address the fact that we're dealing with the destruction of the environment over here, and then we're dealing with poverty over here. Nothing's going to be solved. We have to deal with both because the causes of both are the same causes. The policies that are needed to address the destruction of the planet, climate change, and the increase in poverty and inequality in the world, we have the policies of us both. And that's what we started talking about it in 1992. I mean, there were heads of state from all over the place there. Everybody from the then President Daddy Bush to Fidel Castro. I mean, everybody was there. And hundreds of NGOs. And they came up with a declaration. And nothing happened. And so then nothing that they decided happened. And so then there's another one called Rio Plus 20 in 2012. And at this point, like developing countries, NGOs, all kinds of environmental groups, women's groups, peasants groups, farmers groups, scientists, they're like really like, we got to make something happen this time. Yeah. So it was another historic conference, and it was at that conference that they formed a working group to write the 2030 agenda. The 2030 agenda for sustainable development. There's a definition of sustainable development, which I think we need to actually work with now, but basically development that doesn't destroy the planet and doesn't destroy people. And you can develop and keep living prosperity, but without destroying everything. It's not those words, but like specifically that. So 3 years went into writing the agenda for sustainable development, and the 17 goals are the crystallization of the rest of the 17 goals. Those 17 goals were debated. The wording of them was debated. The wording of the whole 35 pages was debated for 3 years. There were surveys all around the world, town hall meetings, roundtable discussions, conferences. It was a process. And developing countries, NGOs, rich countries, corporations, businesses, scientists, all have been taken to this agenda. So I want to, it's just important to understand so when you read it. And the other reason I test out as I'm giving away these books is because in the back, the appendix is the 35 pages of the sustainable development agenda. You can read it. So these goals, so the other thing that's important to understand are these goals, if they're not empiric, they're about systemic change. And the title of the document is Transforming Our World. It isn't, let's, cut poverty in half, for some people, for 15 years. It's eliminate all forms of poverty everywhere. That's like an amazing statement. But what they all agreed to is that it's doable, the resources exist, the science exists, the money exists, the know-how exists. What's needed is what's the rest. So that's another example. But as an, yes,
What can we provide?
okay, just to get this, I'm just gonna say, but what you can do. It doesn't need innovation. I mean, there is room for everything from projects that affect one community to deal with one problem. Be it to do with water, be it people can afford air conditioning and they need some solutions and like not buying something. To how to get access to nutritious food in a particular community. And you could focus on a community and a specific problem. But think about it in terms of, is it replicable? If this works well, can it be done in other communities? Well, can it be done something bigger? If you could focus on a small project, you could focus on, well, a good example, I guess, you were telling me about
Our pod?
our pod. When we went to Texas in 2017, after Hurricane Harvey, and saw flooded out communities who didn't get rescued for days, whose homes were destroyed, with women and we heard from the fire people and the sheriff and all these people that house, they didn't even have like the boats to go rescue people. And they didn't have communication. They didn't know where people were. And one of the turbines, Nathan Jones, developed a,
So it's like a portable cell tower. So it used to be a portable cell tower, but it's now it's called Beamly. And they're, it's basically, how do we have transport, like how do we do communications, but be able to basically set up these kind of portable, almost like portable cell towers, right? Because the communications, right, sometimes the cell tower has no power anymore, right? And so these portable ones, so then people could actually start using their cell phones again. Yeah, basically create a mesh network. So, and how to quickly get this up, right? With the right technology, being able to talk to then the larger,
so all the
systems.
people that we met down in that little town, just made it forget, from the Red Cross people to the FEMA people to the local sheriff, et cetera, they all said, whoa, we could really use this. And they could, but they also need the money to buy it once it's developed, and that's the reason to build teams, because when you develop something, what was talking earlier, like having numbers of students from maybe different disciplines involved in the project. Consider also, you're coming into something that would really solve a problem that's really something purchased by somebody, and the people who need something for you. But the government can, or some sponsors, or an NGO, or something. You need to take that into account in the plan. So maybe you want to involve people from other departments. If it's a sustainable development department or a social welfare department, but that's another reason to have people from different disciplines. You want to take your project and put it in, how will this actually be? So, yeah, I kind of painted like a big picture about systemic problems around the world, which we can solve, and we could tackle those. I could tell you, we could tackle those. Anybody wants a solution on how to get PFAS out of our water? That would be really heroic and terrific. Look up PFAS for other people. And
You know where it came from?
Ryan? Because, yeah,
You know what it was developed for?
yeah, first it was Teflon.
It was for making sure that the tanks during World War II wouldn't leak.
Okay.
And then they decided they had to repurpose it, so let's cook with it.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's in clothes, it's in plastic, it's in probably in the house. And it's really toxic and bad for us. But, and this is something to keep in mind as we develop in the field as engineers, it's one of the failings of it might be, when things are economic system is very short-sighted. It's not the things that make lots of money with So, try and think long term, and you will be a pioneer in a whole new way of thinking. Which is actually really gaining traction around the world. There are people around the world who are saying we need to do things differently and do it long term. So that's what this thing zone goals are about. I'm not gonna go through all the goals, just in the book. Do the back. We also listed in the front. And the index for all the organizations is two indexes, one by geography, one by the goals. And the reason I pass that is you can read what it's doing. Maybe you want to adopt one of these organizations and ask them, what would really help you? Can I spend time with you, develop it that way, or if it takes this area of problems that a lot of people deal with. Or that none of them are, something from your own experience, and you'll find other things to talk to. You don't have to limit it to this. But, I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. Yay, yes, absolutely. She's amazing. She's been working, I mean, she went to New York to the UN this summer.
Yes.
There's other topics, so many interesting things. But if it seems overwhelming that, oh, these are really big, large goals, remember you can focus in on local problems, right? There's local problems in LA County, or maybe, right, Orange County, Ventura County, like local to us. We can talk to people, like we can put you in contact with local groups. There's local groups working to make sure there's clean water. And we talked to some of those groups, clean water.
Right, WSWA in Orange County.
In Orange County, there's there's the local organization Grid
Right,
that's doing the solar panels on low income
right,
here in LA.
right. And one of the problems they have is, they haven't developed enough, cheap enough batteries yet to really store the energy that they're gathering on their roof. So it's actually, it would be far more useful and cost savings if there was affordable batteries for everybody. So that there's no sign of having to.
But we're almost having blackout.
We're almost having blackouts, exactly, because they haven't. Right.
Like when they said that, it's not like it's so hot.
Yeah.
Because it's hot, and everyone's turning on their air
Using
conditioning
lots of energy.
between 4
And
and 9.
the grid that, even if they built all kinds of solar farms and wind on them, they haven't developed or installed a big enough or strong enough or wide.
Bi-directional, it's the issue of, even if we had all of the solar panels you can imagine, at the moment, the grid is designed to take in energy from the second source, like solar, which is also asynchronous from the time of use. So as the sun's going down, people get home when they turn on their air conditioning. The reason why they're warning about the blackouts is that the grid only has so much capacity, and because of the heat, we're actually going to a capacity level where they may actually have to restrict their use.
Right.
They're also still increasing rate.
Yes. Yes.
Which is a serious problem, because then the same people who can afford to have air conditioners, they're gonna have to shut off. If they're gonna find a thing. And people die, you can look at the statistics of heat deaths. That's like people die every day in these cities, in the US, in their homes. That's what people are getting to. There's a lot of these things, there's problems. And at another session, I can give more attention to.
Yeah, so just, we are planning with Susan a session on September 26th, which is going to be at 4 o'clock. It's a Monday, actually, at 4 o'clock. And it's going to be talking much more about the SDGs and really kind of some of these local groups and issues. So you can really say, oh, I can refine this to be some local information. I can really help talk to people locally to innovate. So this is kind of the overall schedule for MFC. So we're going to have this session, and notice this on purpose. This is pre-application, right? We want you to be able to, before even applying to be an MFC team, right, is to really say, what are some local problems? So what are some real problems that I can work on? And who can I actually get in contact? Even before you apply, you can get in contact with these groups and meet with them. you know, because we want, again, we want to focus on our customers, right? Making sure that there's that need and really working with them from the beginning. There's also going to be a networking session, which is all for our Thai office. We're going to be doing a networking session with Marshall. Yeah. And then the application is due at the end of October. So notice you have time, right? We have September. We're just starting September, right? We're October to really think about these ideas of what, you know, looking at problems and coming up with ideas for solutions. And we're not saying that you have to have the end all be all solution, right? But we want there to be a really good, like, this is my problem area. This is what I want to work on. And here's some ideas I have. Like, again, you don't have to have that idea, but we're going to keep on working on it to make sure that your solution is viable. Right? That's the whole goal of the project. So the application is due October 30th. We'll then be notifying about a week later. In November, we're going to have our kickoff. So that's going to be this is like the one session that is in the fall semester. And it is week 13 on purpose, with not week 15, not during finals, right? On purpose, we scheduled it then. We know how at the end of the semester it's get really crazy. And then these are the workshops then during the spring, right? So you kind of hit hard more in the beginning of the semester, so that it gives you time, right? And we can even do field trips if we need to go out to places. You also notice here between the end of the fall semester and the beginning of the spring semester, that's our winter break. So that's also a good time to be able to talk to people, right? We're going to talk about customer discovery in this kickoff. So we'll talk about how to do customer discovery, and that's you get that time. Then we'll kind of refine it. These all have names, but of what we're kind of focusing on, including, you know, how do you do your pitch, you know, the kind of storytelling, there's, you know, focusing on the customer segments, you know, how do you find those people that, whether your customers may be people that actually use it versus pay for it versus select it, right? These could all be different people, right? So really refining all that. And then the finals at the end of the fall. So that's the overall schedule for MFC. So you're gonna apply, the website will, on Friday is our goal, is to have it up by Friday. It's not there yet, so don't check. It's not on the website. But all of this information will be on the website. Our goal is to get it up by Friday. So that's the presentation. Now we're open to questions.
Say your name again for us.
Okay, my name is Judy.
Mhm.
Judy, yes. T-U-D.
Okay.
I wanted to ask, does the problem solving have to be in there?
No, but there's, the Mint family are interested in seeing solutions and innovations that are in a sense local, but it doesn't have to solely be a problem that's local. And very often a local problem will help you refine it, but it may be global.
Okay.
So think local, act global is sort of a very commonly used phrase, but actually it rings true. If you can follow Susan and Trina's advice and make relationships with people who really are living the problem, you're more likely to come up with a innovative solution, which is a principle for many people out there.
You won't like this.
No. Good question.
But then, you know, we always think about, well, even if it's global somewhere, right? What is some place here that might have a similar problem or a connection so that we can also get you in contact with people here, right? Yeah.
Other questions? Look back.
Today, well, the first time that I have a question about the whole event, for Facebook. So who's the judges? What kind of criteria? And
So it's a great question. And the earlier question was also good. The judges was it going to be April of next year, are people that Trina and I and Susan and the Thai office bring to the table. Historically, they are people who come from, let's say, two buckets, or three actually. One bucket might be actual entrepreneur operators, people that are building businesses and will come at the judging through that lens. A second bucket are those that we might call investors, but this is a unique program where it's really about social impact. So we try to bring investors from the social impact investing. And the third, what was my third? VCs, entrepreneurs.
I mean, we've had, you know, CEOs
Right.
of nonprofits.
And nonprofits. And this is why MFC is sort of distinct from the other equally competitive and equally sized challenge, which is the MEPC, which is actually the Ming Share.
No, it's the Massey Entrepreneurship.
Massey Entrepreneurship,
Plaza.
right, which is much more focused on commercialization. Here, while commercialization is actually part of a route to success, it's not the emphasis as much. So that's part one of the answer. Part two of the answer is we actually run the acceptance certification. So we don't bring in external jurors or experts for that. We're actually looking at whether or not we think there's a feasible team, whether there's a focused idea, and whether you show up. Really. Then we haven't done this last year, which is to have a first round review after the workshops. It's a little bit dependent on how many teams sign up, but we might actually cull the herd and only let the best go through to the finals. But we didn't do that last year because we didn't feel the need. And one or two teams dropped out on their own volition, I think. Or at least one, I would think. Yeah.
Follow-up question on that. So with investors being to take direction, the way for the profit reasons?
No, because our investors that we bring aren't necessarily check writers to you. They're investors in their experience, and therefore they bring their experience to the evaluation process. They're not necessarily coming, and most often aren't coming, to be an actual investor in you. Though that could happen just like in a Shark Tank situation. We're also trying to bring people that can provide guidance. So it's one thing to win $50,000, and it's another thing to use it properly and efficaciously, let's say. And these are the types of people that we hope will give you good guidance. So yes, they may say, well, you might want to focus and you might want to partner here and use the money that way, but they're not necessarily check writers. Who do? Oh, don't be sorry.
You mentioned that it's only, like, there has to be a service fee in the team.
Yes.
So basically, then market students are kind of like, they kind of like can't do.
No, they can, but you have to find a maturity partner.
Okay.
And that's part of what we're trying
Okay,
to
that's fine.
emphasize, which is also what Susan said and Trina said, which is, really successful teams aren't just all maturity students.
Gotcha.
In fact, very often, if you look at the history of these very successful companies, they're a complementary team. Sorry, there was a question here first. Go ahead. Say your name.
I'm literally master from the country. My question is, I mean, what would be this also consisting of? Is this a part of, like, what kind of project, what would be the part?
We give, so the workshops that Trina and I guess a little bit of me, but mostly Trina has organized is a very basic entrepreneurial education. After giving you a little bit more grounding in the SDGs and let's say the social impact language. So that entrepreneurial education is actually really fundamental to what the Thai office does. We do it in this program, we do it in the Massey, we do it in the summer intern program with the Kirby Startup Project. We repeat this, we do it in the iHub. It's really core to our mission. And those workshops include understanding everything from customer discovery to product market fit to channels to all of these things that businesses value proposition. So all these things that any business or social enterprise needs to have to be successful. They're not meant to be homework. They're meant to be really a kickstart for your startup or your endeavor. But one thing that we are expected to judge is if you show up. So we don't tend to like the teams that don't actually send the team to the workshop and think they know everything, because they tend not to do well anyway. Just let me go. See your name?
Henry.
Henry?
Yeah, and I was just wondering.
What program are you from?
Oh, I'm in the ISO.
Cool. I'm in Bean and Young. It's the Dr. Dre funded new academy at USC. It's actually, yeah, and they're focused on product design and design strategy.
I was wondering what kind of group size of what how many members do you have?
I would say average is actually 5 students on average, but we've seen larger, we've seen smaller.
Yeah.
Jay,
How much of a working prototype or live?
that's a great question. We don't mandate the number of slides. We don't mandate an MVP, but the teams that have won, let's say for the last 3 years. So we got Social Benefit, we've got Eco Learner, we have Remedy.
Remedy.
You know, they're more than just it's more than vaporware. You're not going to win with vaporware with a PowerPoint. You have to have real customer discovery. You have to have a real plan. In some cases, you have real products, physical products and/or digital products, or both. You know, and I guess this probably has never happened, but I don't think we would award something if it wasn't deserving at the end of the year. But that's never happened.
And your presentation actually identified very specific, what is the problem that you're addressing? And which of the goals is it?
And that'll be part of the application too, is identifying the goals.
That's not in the jump form, but that's in the second jump form. I noticed it. Okay.
I wrote a note to myself.
Yeah. I thought we updated it last year. Never mind. More questions. Say your name again and which program. Just go there.
It,
It doesn't involve a lot.
it's not up yet, but it's a form. And it's really like identifying what the problem is, right? We put a cap on it. We don't want necessarily, you know, a white paper. No, we want 2 paragraphs, right? We want it. It's not crazy.
Can I actually can I go back to Jay's first question? Jay, do you remember your first question? What can I do, right? So this is the real challenge to all of you in the room, is Jay's question. What can I do? Well, number 1, you should have a passion for what you want to do. Number 2, you should find some like-minded people that will have that passion with you and have that dialogue, right? Because there's so many things to do. We don't have an answer of what you should do. We have an open door with a little bit of a lens and a narrowing factor, which is the SDGs. And then the second level of that is, can you be local and global at the same time? So that's on you. Say your name again.
We would like you to have teams beforehand. Yes. Yeah. So you apply as a team, and we understand that people may come on the team afterward.
People get fired.
I mean, we had one team
Blow up.
and yeah, and went on their separate ways, and Yeah, yeah, you're like.
Part of building any enterprise, whether like for pure profit and commercialization or a social enterprise, is what Susan's been doing for years. It's building partnerships, right? Any business is actually a marriage between people rowing a boat in the same direction. So one of the things you should be doing is making friends and having these conversations. Like that's step one. And then step two is identifying problems that are either directly relevant to you or of interest to you because you want to help that constituency, that group of people, that geography, that issue. And the book, as Susan said, is categorized through geography, but also through the 17 SDGs and the 169 targets underneath all of them, which you don't have to memorize. But they're there.
You don't have to memorize the 17 either.
Oh, no, you do.
You have to memorize which ones you're working on.
Okay, I haven't memorized that. Oh, I used to know also. Yes.
Is it required that every team member to be physically present in the workshop or the everyone participation?
I don't like the question, but it's a good one. I'll tell you why I don't like the question. It sounds like I want every excuse not to show up.
No, I mean.
But that's what it sounds like to me.
It's a collaboration with students from
Okay.
There's some obligation to say that, like for some.
We are not a class which gives you a grade, right? So it's on you. But if you guys don't show up for workshops, we notice, right? And what we notice is that they tend not to be successful teams. So again, it's kind of on you. And the answer is no, they don't have to show up if they're in Arizona or something, right? Or in India or something, like, of course not. But this is an opportunity to win enough money to actually start a social enterprise. So it's all on you. But the question does bother me because you're not the only one that ever asks that. Like, do I really have to show up? And it's sort of like, well, that means you think you know everything already, then it's not worth it. Go get the money somewhere else. Like, that's my response to somebody who asks a very valid and fair question.
And my response is, I understand that not all team members could maybe attend at a specific time, right? Because we're dealing with classes, we're dealing with.
I teach class at the time of the workshops. I'm not going to skip all my classes.
So because of that, I understand, I mean, but we want to see at least one of your team members at the workshops. In the last 2 years, we've had to do all the workshops 2.5 virtually. And it really wasn't great.
Yeah, you got kids watching YouTube and pretending.
And so, I mean, my goal is to hopefully do them in person. Like I love doing things in person again, but enabling a Zoom room, right? So if I can get a decent classroom, I'll go into a Zoom room and open it up as well. So you can try to, get those. And of course, people are still getting sick. So you're sick, I don't want to show up. I'm sorry, I want you showing up virtually. It is.
The application, if you go online, you know,
Okay.
We treat the application like, unlike this is not an academic exercise. This is not for a grade. This is not some like homework assignment. This is an opportunity to actually take money into the world and have an impact. That's what this is. So the application itself is short because any business-minded person doesn't want you to write some garbage essay for us. They want you to focus on the problem, constituency, the team. That's it.
And we're evaluating. Like we're the ones evaluating that.
In the beginning.
In the beginning. Yeah. We don't do the final stuff, right? Because we feel like we get
Conflict of interest.
it's a conflict of interest because we get to know your team so well and the products and the ideas and that. And so we feel, we're like, we have to step back. Dave and I have to step back as evaluators at that point. Yeah.
We have 2 questions. But yes, there is more time. Jay?
How many more events do we have to do in a day?
Well, you got to go back.
So here's our goal. Well, we're doing this one. And that's really focusing on the SDGs. And if we have to, we'll connect you with some of these local ones, right?
If anyone wants to consult with me or I'm sure anybody before the 30th outside of the work of that a purpose of session, if you can, session, I'd like to talk to you about how that as well. And just talk on the phone, come to the office. Something like that. Where's the office? So our office is in New York City, which is near Pico and La Brea. Which is really part of town, really, really, really.
There's a lot of museums. Go visit and go to the museum.
It's in a house that does national boundaries. So it's not-
And my last question was, what if you had already been working on something that concerns the SDGs and you had like done competitions before?
Doesn't bother us.
Or
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, you're too advanced or not advanced.
Nope.
Nope.
It's the real world. This isn't an academic exercise. If you've got work going and build a team, make sure you got Viterbi on it, of course.
Awesome. Yeah, it doesn't have to be something that started just this semester. Unlike if you had like a class project, there might be that kind of idea.
I mean, the last year's winner has been working on it for 2 years before they won. Yeah. The EcoLearn, social benefit. Social benefit, right?
Yeah.
You know, that was a combination of Dornsife, Viterbi, Marshall. Yeah. I don't know how long she had been working on it, but it was a serious project. EcoLearner, I don't.
That was just the year.
That was.
I mean, so we've had different examples, right, of it just being some that had been working on beforehand, some just the year, some, I mean, I think about Arpod, who was the, right, I guess he came in with the idea, but he really got to do a lot more testing and stuff
Right.
during it, with the funding, yeah. And they got SBIR funding, small business.
They got non-dilutive money from the government to continue with their project.
Awesome, right?
Just like one of the things, very much needed to broaden out the thinking and potential interests. Like, there's a woman on our board, owns an other legal company. They make this, they install this kind of stuff in hospitals, universities, et cetera. Screenings, all kinds of things. And of course, she knows me, and she's not been really with the SDGs. And I got her to examine their individual industries related to the SDGs. And she realized that there's no recycling process in that big step when people decide, oh, there's newer things, and even though this works perfectly well, we're going to be big it, I mean, literally big it, and get new stuff. And where does it end up? And I don't have the figures in my head, she has it all now, but tons and tons of stuff get shipped to places like Ghana and dumped. And then very poor people go through it and get all kinds of illnesses and diseases, et cetera, trying to find things they can get money for. That's the recycling process. And so she has started a new nonprofit where she's reaching out to other audiovisual companies, like people like her who are concerned about climate change and poverty and cities. And they are forming a movement or looking for answers together for how can this stuff be recycled to make it affordable and get manufacturing to the community. And when we make this stuff, some of the things haven't anything in mind, like where's it going to go? Circular economy. And because they have found that no manufacturer does this. So they're on the hunt for scientists, technology people, et cetera, who can help them. As small business people, we don't have the resources to change people to organize together with other Asian companies. And maybe can get these to change, and it will save lives and save the environment and stop all this waste, which is so cool. Production and consumption. So that's interesting. I just want to throw that out as another idea of where to go with this. You might end up working with companies who really want to transform their business if they realize currently that they really got this environment, but they don't know what else to do. And you might be able to develop solutions that are both technical, engineering, but also social, economic policy.
I want to add something to Susan. in the Min Family Challenge, you don't have to end up with a for-profit business model. You can actually end up winning with a not-for-profit business model, just to be clear. In fact, the last winner, Remedy, even though I think they incorporated, partly because I told them to, and maybe I didn't need to, but they're not really a for-profit entity. They are a social street medicine device. And, you know, that's what they're about. It doesn't mean that you don't generate revenue and cover your costs and have a viable not-for-profit, but just to put that out there, that this is really about impact. When we ask the judges to evaluate, we are evaluating across repeatability, scalability, some of these basic business terms, but it's also about impact. What kind of impact? Any last question?
I know we ran longer than I thought we would, but questions?
Yeah.
I have a few questions back. I just wanted to confirm that international students are allowed to take part.
Yes?
Absolutely.
Do we need to have someone from the United States in the team?
No.
No. You have to have somebody from Viterbi who's an active student.
Awesome. There's a Viterbi student, by the way, like, you know, who wants to participate.
What is the biggest student rating before the competition?
Good question. No, I think that you would need to have an active Viterbi student upon delivery of the presentation in April. And there are people that graduate May 15th, and they still get the money and the free legal and continue on. But one of the questions will be, you know, it isn't just about winning the money, it's about putting the money to use, right? So if this is, you know, a team, and I'll speak really frankly, if this is a team where every single person on the team needs to somehow get an H-1B, this doesn't help them. And it doesn't help the use, it doesn't meet Min Family Challenge's sort of goals, right? I run a graduate program and an undergraduate program, so I deal with students from all over the world for the last 20 years. So like, I get it, okay? I place a lot of my students. But if you have a team that's only gonna be able to actually work on it right up until they're in their OPT and then they have to get the job, or, you know, like, that isn't really the intention. So maybe broadening to the point where there are people who can actually focus their time on it is really important. And that doesn't mean paying themselves either, by the way. You know, the Remedy team isn't paying themselves salaries. They're doing everything else on top of, you know, trying to build this business. Does that make sense?
Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. If there's leftover food, take it, eat it.
Where's Abby? Where are you meeting Abby?